Hello everyone and welcome back to Dungeons & Death Battles, the series where we search for the most lethal monster in all of Dungeons & Dragons. Rules are simple, it's arena combat, combatants start 30 feet from each other, there's no fleeing, and it's a battle to the death. Continuing on today, we have the very last of the quarterfinal rounds with the ferrous-feasting rust monster taking on the infernal imp. These two competitors have both risen up through the ranks in order to make it here today, so without further ado, let's kick off with some initiative and see who gets to go first. We're going to chuck in with the imp first. It's +3 to initiative, giving it a pretty solid edge here, so let's see what it pulls through with. There's a 13 +3 for 16, very nice start there from the imp. Let's see what the rust monster can bring through with. It does have a +1, so it is still in with a chance. And that is a 16 +1 for 17, meaning that the rust monster is going first. And of course, with that being the case, the monstrosity is going to move its full movement across that arena into combat with the imp, where it is then going to ascertain that the imp doesn't particularly have much in the way of metal on it, and is then going to go in for a very straightforward bite attack. So rolling in with that +3 here, looking to beat an AC of 13. And that is a 9 +3 for 12, which will not beat the imp's AC of 13. So while it has managed to close the gap, it has not been able to inflict any damage upon its opponent, which does of course mean that initiative order rolls back round to the imp. And the imp of course going to just continue on as we left off, stabbing him with its sting attack. Now this does have a +5 to hit against the rust monster's armor class of 14, so let's see what we get. And that is a stone cold 19, dice just dropping straight down there, which does of course mean that with +5 for 24, that is definitely going to hit. So rust monster taking 1d4 +3 initial points of damage here. Let's get that roll in. That is a 3 +3 for 6. Pretty good opener from the imp, dropping the rust monster down to 21 hit points. But of course the rust monster now may have to deal with some side effects, as it must make a DC 11 constitution saving throw or take 3d6 poison damage on a failed save or half as much on a success. So let's roll in with that rust monster's constitution save. It's got a +1 to this, looking to beat an 11. And with a 12 +1 for 13, it does indeed beat that DC of 11. But it does still take half of 3d6 points of damage. 2, a 2, and a 4, totaling 8 damage there, so the rust monster will be taking 4 of that. Very handy that it made it save there, that could have been pretty punishing, but that does mean we're rolling back round into the rust monster's initiative, where it is going to continue to snap and bite away at the imp, seeing if it can get any damage on the table. And so once again, rolling in with that bite attack +3, looking to beat an AC of 13. Not with a natural 1, it won't. Terrible roll from the rust monster there. And we are of course going to jump straight back round to the imp, which of course is now looking to close on this advantageous position, and is going to continue to sting away. Again, rolling in that d20, the +5 looking to beat a 14 AC, and that is a 10, and with that +5, it's gonna do it. So once again, rolling in with some more damage, that small 1d4 first, again coming through with that trusty 3, with the +3 modifier, bringing that all the way to 6, leaving the rust monster on just 11 hit points. And of course, rust monster, once again subject to that DC 11 constitution saving throw, to avoid taking the full amount of poison damage. And unfortunately, a 7 +1 for 8 is not going to cut it. So the rust monster is now about to take the full brunt of 3d6 poison damage. That could have been a lot better and a lot worse. So rust monster is going to be taking, once again, 8 points of poison damage with 2 1s and a 6 on the dice rolls. And that does of course mean that the rust monster is in fact still standing and is going to get at least another opportunity to get a bite attack in. So of course, rolling in for that rust monster, let's see if it can actually do some damage in this combat. And with a 7 +3 for 10, the rust monster of course misses, just sliding past that imp there as it bats a wing, just dodging out of the way of the chomping monster, which does of course roll it back round once again to the imp, which is going to look to capitalize even further. Sting attack coming in hot. But a 5 +5 for 10 is not going to do it either. This is looking like a bit of a duke out for the time being, as we roll straight back round to the rust monster. We've driven 8 +3 for 11, is still unable to land a hit. Imp coming back in again, and with a 14 +5 for 19, that one will land. So again, rolling in that d4 first. Once again, rolling in with a 3, very consistent on that damage, of course rounding that up to a 6. And that is in fact enough by itself to take the rust monster out of the game. Not able to land a single hit against the imp, which is no doubt cackling and laughing away in its native infernal as it puts that rust monster permanently to bed. As is the way with these combats, sometimes they go your way and sometimes they really do not. And in the case of the rust monster, it did not go well. And it has been eliminated at the quarterfinal stage, which does mean that the imp is going to be rising through to the semi-final round, which does of course mean it will be taking on the cockatrice in a future battle. And with things really hotting up here as we progress into the semi-final rounds now, I hope you join me next time when the Needle Blight takes on the animated armor in the very first semi-final combat to decide who will be making it through to the finals of the Dungeons & Death Battles Whelpling League.